Hey, it's Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, My Asexual Life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I discuss my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. So subscribe and hit that bell icon right now. So, what's it like clubbing with sexual freshers when you're sex repulsed asexual, the pros and the cons? So yes, I'm COVID free, and in celebration of that, and also the fact that my asexuality interview with James Miller from Lifeology is now live and doing really well for asexuals. He's got a listenership of 3.5 million per episode, so asexuality is spreading now throughout that global mix of terrestrial and other internet channels. It's just incredible to think that the mission I have of getting asexuality recognised as a sexual orientation in its own right globally is now coming true, because an interview with an asexual person, me on James Miller Lifeology, is just crazily good. It's just amazing. So in order to celebrate that, as well as celebrating the fact that I'm COVID free, I need to go out clubbing, because clubbing, for me, I'm asexual in sexual orientation, and some people are asexual. Well, a lot of people who are asexual don't like going to nightclubs because there's sexual tension usually there, sexual energy, and a lot of asexuals are actually introverted, whereas I'm extrovert. So I stick out like a sore thumb amongst asexuals in that way. Right, so I'm sex repulsed asexual though, which kind of doesn't really go with an extrovert personality, but it does, because I am extrovert and I am sex repulsed, but I wouldn't put the two together usually, if you know what I mean. Um, because I'm very outgoing, and when you're very outgoing, you give off the persona that you like sex, and I think that's one of the difficulties as an extrovert asexual. So when I go to clubs, I probably give off an aura to a certain extent that I'm a sexual being, especially because I like to move my hips when I dance a lot. And I love dancing on my own, though. I make it quite clear that I do enjoy dancing on my own. So I went to Timepiece, which is my favourite nightclub in my city of Exeter in the UK. And a lot of the people from the 20s, 30s group, hello to them, meetup group, they don't like going to Timepiece because they say it's too young for them. It's got students like 18 to 20 something year olds, and I met, because I mentioned it to the organizer once, and he's like, yeah, but they're like students, like, do you want to go to that? I'm like, well, yes, because my mindset age is 21. I reprogram my mind using NLP, neuro linguistic programming, to be like 21, and I live like a teenager on purpose and absolutely love my life. I lived the boring adult life years ago, 9 to 5 job, came home, watched TV, all that jazz, as they call it. I led a normal life years ago, and I was so bored with that life. I much prefer my life now, living like a teenager, living my 21-year-old soul life, teenager lifestyle as well. And I just much prefer it. So for me personally, I love going out clubbing. I like dancing. I do have a bronze in freestyle disco dancing, and it's highly commended. So I did 2 dance exams years ago. I was with Sally Gray School of Dance in Exeter. And so I have actually got a qualification in dance, and I love dance. And the reason I love dance personally for me is it makes me feel so good in my mind and my body and my soul. When I dance, I come alive, I release energy, and it's like floating on a cloud. It's so good for my mental health and my physical health, dancing. And when I'm in the beat of the music and the lights are going, I just feel so like in awe of the moment. I just feel euphoric is the word I choose. And so I guess, yeah, for me that's much better than sex. I'm trying to think, like, why do people like sex and think it's euphoric when dancing is euphoric, and kissing. I didn't do any kissing though. That's a con for me. But there we go. So anyway, so I went to Timepiece, and tonight it must have been Freshers Week, because I actually got asked if I was a fresher, and which I loved, by the way. And a lot of them were dressed like either in ridiculous type of costume stuff, or they were dressed in like freshers, like they were dressed in like kind of like shirts and trousers that all looked similar, like they were going to school or something. Yeah. So anyway, I get there and I love it because I live near students. It's perfect because when I moved home this year, I actually have student accommodation all around me. Not No students are in my house, but around me is student accommodation. So I feel really at home here. And I love the fact that my home here is just literally in the city centre, basically. And I only have to go up the road to go to clubs. And so it's really good. So anyway, I get to the club and I have a paper ticket, and the woman's looking at me like, "Don't you have the app?" I'm like, "No." And it's just like I get so many apps on my phone. It's like crazy, you know what I mean? And so if I have too many apps, they use up so much memory. So anyway, the answer was no. I went into the club and I could tell it's freshers, like I said, because people were wearing certain clothes. And so I went on the dance floor and it was good. For a very short period of time, I was dancing on my own. And then I had people who were there, the students who, I assume they were all students, they liked my dancing, and so they was trying to start to dance with me, guys and girls, predominantly guys first of all. And so I'm happy to be accepted into their fold, if you like. I'm happy that they accept me, they like my dancing, it makes me feel so good. That's one of the reasons I love going there, is because I usually get praised when I go there by other people on the dance floor. People usually like my energy, they like my confidence, they like my dancing, and I feel really good. I get a lot of praise for being there. And words of affirmation is my second love language, which is, second. My first love language is quality time. This is like in a relationship or friendship. And then it's words of affirmation followed, well, it's actually words of affirmation and physical touch at the same time, but I don't want to be physically touched by my friends. I like hugging though, but you know what I mean? So it's more of a relationship thing. But the whole point is I like words of affirmation. So when someone praises me, it makes me feel really good. And so I do get a lot of praise from going to this club. So even though I'm clubbing, and I'd say they look like they were all heterosexuals tonight, whereas sometimes you get bisexuals there and lesbians there and guys there. And so from my point of view, I really got accepted there, and I love that. I love going to that club. I love the fact that the girls and the guys both accept me. Girls like dance with me. So my background is at school, I was bullied predominantly by girls. And so most of my friends these days are guys, not girls. And women can be so cruel and they can be very manipulative. And a lot of people don't see that side of them. They think women are sweet and innocent, but I have seen that side of them. But when I go clubbing in timepiece, and I have women, girls that want to dance with me, and they just kind of following my movements and into what I'm doing, and think it's nice for me to in with them, or them to join in with me. I feel really good. It's like really nice. It's probably because they're my soul age group. Right? Because my soul is like 21. Well, I live like a teenager, so my mindset's 21, teenager lifestyle, all that type of thing. So I find that the girls that age are like really good for me. Like they really kind of praise me and make me feel like a part of their community. And these are heterosexual women, I would say. I have had some women in that club in the past try to come on to me, I think. Because they're into women, but it's kind of hard sometimes because women are so friendly there that I don't know some of the time whether they're actually a lesbian or whether they're just being friendly. But I don't think any of them were lesbian tonight. I think they're all heterosexuals. But they were just being nice. And so there was these guys dancing, but there was this one guy and he was horrendous. Like he would not leave me alone. So I had another guy dancing with me first of all, and then this guy came up behind me and he was like looking at the other guy as much to say, like, back off, like she's mine, I want to speak to her or something, I want to dance with her. And I'm thinking, I'm not a piece of me. And he was behind me and he kept going like this, like Beaver. And I don't know what that meant. I can only assume that with heterosexuals, a beaver is a vagina, a woman's private bits. And I can only think that when he kept doing this, if I'm thinking about the sexual context, they probably meant I wanna have sex with you. You know what I mean? Because that's what the bit down of a woman's privates is called, Beaver. So I don't know if he was doing that and that's what he meant, or if he was literally just being a twit and going like this. But he kept like doing like Beaver stuff. I just didn't understand it. When I came home, I thought like, what could that be? And I thought it was probably that I got the impression he wanted sex with me anyway. But he was going like this the whole time, going behind me, and he was just such a dickhead. Excuse my language. I'm going to swear on this episode because it was so annoying. And he was behind me the whole time and he was doing stuff behind my back and that, and I hated it. And he was right behind me. Luckily, he didn't put his hand on my backside because I would have had some words to say about that. You know what I mean? I would not have been happy, but it was getting really close. And when other guys were trying to dance with me, he was right behind me and he just wouldn't leave me alone. And he at one point, he went for me, you know, like put his lips puckered up for me to kiss him. And I'm thinking, I don't want to kiss you. He was drunk. A lot of them were drunk tonight, right? Really drunk. So that wasn't good. And he was really drunk and he had like, he was going like this to me all the time. And he was trying to dance with me, but I was more interested in the other guys than him because he was being a real dickhead and the other guys were being more civil. And there was one guy, he only looked about 18, British, and he held his hands out for me to put my hands in his and then did a bit of twirling. You know, he twirled me around a few times, which was nice. It was respectful. Our bodies weren't touching apart from like with hands, and it was just much nicer. He was clean shaven and he had a nicer face. He seemed more friendly. He actually was wearing his dressing gown to a club. Can you believe it? But yes, that's Freshers Week for you. There was someone else dressed in like a tutu or something, a multicolored tutu. I'm like, oh my god, is going on? But I find it funny because I'm just like young, so you know what I mean. I'm like, let them have their fun. You know, it's Freshers Week, it's fun, so let them have it. You know, the non-sexual fun, I don't mind. The guy in his dressing gown and the other guy in his tutu. I find that type of thing quite funny. Right, and everyone's having a good time dancing. I like that. But the guy that was doing the beaver face behind me, he was just being so annoying. And it was like sexual harassment to a certain extent because I can get rid of him. He's like behind me all the time. And I kept looking at him like going, are you all right? You know, because he was just being an idiot. And every time I tried to get away from him, he was just behind me the whole time. And so he kept being behind me. And in the end, I had to say something because I couldn't like get rid of him. And I said to him, like, I'm really not interested because when I was on the floor, I tried to go further into the middle of the floor and he came up behind me again. And this girl could see my face. She was like, oh my God. I think she thought I was going to shout at him and get really angry, which I don't. I would raise my voice if he wouldn't leave me alone because I've had to do that before in that club a long time ago. I've had to like talk louder because a guy wouldn't leave me alone. He was trying to touch me. But you know, I just wanted him to leave me alone. But I think this other girl could see my face, which was like going like this, you know, because I was just getting really pissed off with him by that time. And he was still like behind me. And so I specifically took my bag and moved to the opposite side of the dance floor, thinking hopefully he'll get the message because he, you know, wasn't getting the hint. And he still wouldn't leave me alone for a time. Eventually, he stopped because I just kept moving away from him the whole time. And I verbally told him, I'm not interested. And then later on, I saw him down from a stage bit and he like was wearing a cap and he looked really miserable and was on his own. And I'm thinking, I don't feel sorry for you because you're a dickhead. Had he been a really nice guy and not made a beaver face behind my back and not be doing like this or whatever he was doing behind my back, I caught, you know, that no doubt people were taking photographs and camera work for. If he'd not been such an idiot like that, you know, and he'd been a polite guy and danced to me, that would have been a bit different. But I'm sure he was out of sex because I think at one point he said, you got a nice bum to me. It sounded like that. And I do know later on, which I'm sure then that he wanted sex because there was a song that said, get me some, something like that in the lyrics. And then he came up to me and goes, get me some like this. So it's clear that get me some means get me some sex. So it's clear that he's just after me for that. So it's so annoying. He's one of the type of guys you don't know whether he's taking the piss out of you or he really fancies you, if you know what I mean. Because he's just doing stuff behind your back all the time. But he must have been doing it for like 20 minutes. It was just getting really aggravating. So I think it's bad when a heterosexual gets obsessed with someone like that. And it doesn't just happen to asexuals. I saw a guy who was, I'm not sure if he's in my shorts video, because the guy that's in my shorts video, I hadn't really danced, he was near me, but I hadn't really danced with him until the video, and he's put his head over my shoulder. But I think it was him that after I did that video, a while later, he decided to get with this girl and start kissing her, but he was kind of touching her hips. So the problem I have with heterosexual guys is when they're going for a kiss, instead of like holding the girl's back, because I personally like hands around my back, it's a kiss and then he puts his hands down the side of her body and he puts it on her hips because he's trying to get her sexually aroused, and that's something I don't like. I'm like, the girl was like looking like this. It was like she was enjoying the kissing, but when he started touching her sides, like her hips, you could tell she was uncomfortable and didn't like it. And I was just thinking, yeah, that's like asexual behavior in the sense that she doesn't like it and she doesn't know how to tell him clearly. And it's like, she just likes a kissing. That's what it looked like to me. I'm not saying she's asexual. I don't think she is. I think she's heterosexual. But it was a very similar behavior, I'd say, to asexuals who don't like sex stuff. But she didn't even know this guy. So I think it was just like him being really trying to get intimacy with her really super quick, and she was getting fed up with it, but she wanted the kissing. And they were kissing next to me, and I'm a hyper romantic and hyper kisser. So of course I was thinking, where's my kisses? Not from them, from someone else. And then I eventually moved back to originally where I was, but that other guy was harassing me before, but he was on the floor on his own by this time, and the girl was talking to him. Actually came a bit later talking to him. And there was another couple kissing, and I'm thinking, where's my kisses? Because I'm a hyper romantic, hyper kisser, like I said. And I really like when I see other people kissing, it can set that off. I really want to kiss, but there wasn't really anyone to kiss anyway. There was one guy who looked foreign, like a little bit foreign. He had light coloured brown skin by the look of it. And there was another guy who looked quite good looking. I wasn't sure if he was foreign or British. But other than that, the other British guys, they were okay, but I'm not really attracted to British guys. Like the guy who held my hand wasn't bad, I guess, for a British guy, but it's a bit boring looking. I prefer foreign guys. So yeah, so in general, I had a nice time. The heterosexuals accepted me for who I am. They don't know I'm asexual, obviously. I think they thought that I was up for sex when I'm really not, because I think the guy who was like stalking me, basically, I think he definitely wanted sex with me. But half the time it was like he was making fun of me. The other half of the time it was like he really wanted me in a sexual way. So it's really weird. Guys are so weird sometimes. Another good thing I love about heterosexuals is they don't give a shit about my birth certificate age, really. I mean, they don't know my birth certificate age. I look young, obviously. But even when I'm on dating sites and dating apps, the heterosexuals don't care about my birth certificate age. I put my birth certificate age on like Badoo and Facebook dating, and they really couldn't care less, right? Heterosexual couldn't care. I get 18-year-olds like me and say I'm beautiful, right? But when I've noticed with asexuals, like going off the subject of clubbing now, but with asexuals, when I am on asexual dating sites, they've got like a limit on their age. And I don't know if that's just them or if it's a cultural thing, I'm worried about what their parents think. So it's really annoying that like heterosexuals really couldn't care less about my birth certificate age. In fact, a lot of heterosexual guys get very turned on by an older girl. And I'm very voluptuous as well. That doesn't put guys off. So there was someone in one of my asexual Facebook groups, and they're like, "Oh, I'm big. I'm bigger." They probably didn't use the word bigger because I use it because I don't like other. I'm very careful with terminology like voluptuous, curvy. Those are the words I use. I don't use words that to me put people down about themselves. And so yeah, I don't have any problem, like guys don't really care about it. Some guys obviously are more sexually attracted to me because I'm a bigger girl and got more curves. You know, definitely I would say the guy who was doing the beaver face behind me the whole time, I'd definitely say he was highly sexually attracted to me. He's so, you know, he's just behaving like such a dick. I'm like, why behave like that? It's just so annoying. He was drunk and he was, yeah, at the very early on, he was trying to kiss me. It's like, but it's like, I'm not going to kiss a guy who's drunk, who's not respecting me, who is basically, I can't work out if he's making fun of me or not, and who just is acting like a dickhead, basically. Excuse my language, but he is. And so it's like, I'm not gonna wanna kiss you. I love kissing, but I won't just kiss anyone, and have some standards, you know what I'm saying? I don't wanna kiss someone who's full of alcohol either. I don't drink any alcohol myself. So yeah, I like the fact I'm accepted by the women. I like the fact that guys who are young do like dancing with me as well. As the girls, I like the environment. I like the music. At the end, though, it's for the last, I would say, half an hour, 20 minutes to half an hour, I was dancing on my own. I came back from the toilet and literally everyone had gone off the dance floor, so it's just me and the DJ playing music, and I asked them to play some tracks that I liked, so they did at the very end. So they club shut early, actually. And when I walked out and I went to go home, because I didn't wanna make eye contact with the guys because I thought I don't want that guy following me because he seemed really obsessed before. And then this guy shouted out, "You're amazing." And I think I'm guessing it was him, you know, because I can't think of who else would say that. But I don't know because some of the guys did see me dancing on the floor on my own at the end while they were getting drinks still from the bar. They were coming at from outside where they're seating indoors to get an alcoholic drink, go out again, and they saw me dancing. I was the only one dancing on the whole floor by then, which I liked, you know. I'm like, rev it up, let's go and dance on your own. It's good fun. Apart from, you know, it's shutting because early because there's only you on the dance floor, but I enjoyed it a lot. And I like the fact that heterosexuals don't really care about birth certificate age, and they just like seeing me, you know, they like my confidence, they like seeing me have a good time, they like my dancing, even though it's quite crazy at times. And it's nice because I feel accepted for who I am. Like I feel that they're my soul age, you know? So I feel really good in that environment. And I just feel so alive, you know, like and elated. I feel good in my body now. I feel really like energized. I feel euphoric. I feel really good. But I think it's going to be the first and last time before the Oxford talk I can go clubbing because I need to save my voice and make sure I'm well to go to Blue Talks Oxford and do the speech I need to do next month on the 23rd of October 2023. So yeah, and I, apart from that guy that's been an idiot, I'd say the other heterosexuals that were near me, the majority of them were okay. They were just wanted to like do a bit of dancing with me, but I'm not saying they're not sexually attracted to me, but they weren't behaving like idiots in that way, if you know what I mean. So I was really pleased about that. But as a sex repulsed asexual, I got it going on my head like I'm not interested in sex. When the guy was doing the beaver face the whole time behind me for like however long he was stalking me for, you know, it's like, mm. So yeah, it's like I'm not interested in sex. And I'm trying to telepathically say that basically. I'm not interested in sex, I'm not interested in sex. But I'm glad I told him to go away. You do have to do that in clubs sometimes. They won't take a hint. Even moving away, you have to say, look, I'm not interested because I'll never stop else. And they're just in your personal space. And I hate it. It's like I like dancing on my own and having space anyway. Obviously, if I had a loving, caring, committed partner that was kissing me on the dance floor, that's different. But I'm saying in general, when I'm dancing on my own, going to nightclubs on my own, I do like dance on my own. But it does get a bit boring after a while, but it's better dancing on your own than having this guy stalker, which was annoying. Anyway, I hope you've liked this video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already and hit the bell icon so you never miss an episode. Lots of love to you. Take care. Bye.